Call of Duty is a huge franchise today, generates a lot of money, and after the release of Modern Warfare 2, I decided to go back to the beginning. Since I can't play the original on PC, unfortunately, I got the next best thing. Call of Duty Classic. I forgot I had this on the PlayStation 3. I might play each game that I can have access to in this series and review it. So let's get it started. Should you add Call of Duty Classic in your collection? First of all, this is set during World War II when shooters were all about fighting the ultimate bad guys. And to be honest, I miss historical shooters. They had something special to them. And here we have three campaigns: the Russians, the Americans, and the British. Personally, as a Canadian, I would have loved to fight as a Canadian. We went to that war. They do name drop Canada in a cutscene, but that's about it. The story is a basic World War II story. It's similar to many war films from back in the day, especially Saving Private Ryan. But it's still an enjoyable ride. The voice acting is very early 2000s, so I don't expect Academy Award level of acting in this. I like the fact that we meet up with classic characters that appear in later installments, but of course they aren't the same characters. But I love they just kept the legacy alive by putting the same names. Of course they aren't the same characters, but I love that they kept the legacy alive throughout the years. The graphics and audio are very early 2000s as well. As a retro gamer, I don't mind. It doesn't take away from the fun I had revisiting this. I was, however, surprised by the gameplay. I thought this would play like an early first person shooter. Remember the days when you had to aim down the sight just by clicking the analog stick? That was freaking clunky and awkward. Well, here it plays like a modern shooter. L2 is for aiming down the sights, and it's really appreciated. But some things are missing, and being used to modern shooters, it kind of annoyed me at first, a little bit, just a little bit. First, there's no dedicated grenade button. The grenade is in the weapon selection wheel, so you need to select it before using it. I feel this is an improvement that I actually love, and I got so used to. Second, the lack of sprinting. It doesn't hurt the game, but I wish I could run in this. I don't miss the sliding that much because a lot of people who fought during World War II were drafted at the last minute and they were not super soldiers. But at least everyone can run. Maybe it was the technology back in the early 2000s, but I got so used to sprinting that it feels like second nature. Might I add, this is an old school first person shooter. Health regeneration is not a thing. Now you need to find health packs, which makes things really more tense. I love running around trying to find health packs because I was low in health and a bunch of enemies around me. It made things really nerve wracking. From the start, they really added different types of gameplay. You can ride cars, and usually you are on the passenger side or back of a truck. Change the pace of the game. You can also drive a tank, which is hit or miss. It's cool, but the controls of the tank are not that great. It feels like an overcomplicated version of GoldenEye. Aiming is not precise, and I need to drive and rotate the cannon at the same time, which makes things a little confusing. I don't hate it. I think if they made it as simple as GoldenEye, this level could have been much, much more exciting. My guess they wanted to be as realistic as they could with the technology they had back in the day. At the end of the day, Call of Duty Classic is still a fun time if you're down for some old school retro gaming. The gameplay is still solid, the variety of missions pretty much decent, and it's always fun to visit historical places and events in video games. So, should you add Call of Duty Classic to your collection? I would definitely say yes, but I think you can only buy the digital copies on PS3 and Xbox 360 storefronts, and not on the modern console.